Peter's. We're going to do 2 Peter's. 2 Peter's. What is really going on, Abba? I don't know, but we're going to get to the bottom line of this nonsense. Shalom. Shalom. We're going to get to the bottom line of these nonsense and these radical ideas. For real. 2 Peter's 2:3. Deuteronomy chapter 14:22. Yeah, we're going to get to the bottom line. Okay, speaking about, we're going to be talking about tithing and offerings, family. That's what we're going to be talking about today. We're going to talk about tithing, offering, alms. We're going to be talking about feast days, requirements, and all kinds of things like that. Okay? We sure will. Because I am seeing some things, family. I'm sure if it's not sitting well with me, it's probably not sitting well with some of the other people in the body. Oh, somebody done fled. Somebody done skedaddled. Let me get a bookmark for this. I need a bookmark for that. Hallelujah. Welcome on in, family. I have an announcement, too, I want to make. I don't know if my beloved sister Drika going to come back, but I just want to say to my beloved sister Drika, if y'all live, you see this, beloved, a comment of yours was deleted by accident via my moderator. She said she was doing laundry and she didn't mean anything by it. I just want to make that be verbally too, because she did put it in the comments under the video that it happened, but you probably didn't pay no mind. You probably was wondering. We like to clear things out and give no room to the enemy to cause strife, quarrels, and issues like that, remaining in a neutral, loving, spirit for one another, because Hashatan is very clever. He tries to creep in ways you could never imagine. So the title of this video is simply called "What's Really Going On?" Okay, and the reason why I had put this video up and curious to know what's really going on is because I'm sitting back and I'm watching some congregations. Help me make sense of this phone. I'm just simply seeing congregations more concerned with making profits off of the Passover rather than being unavailable assembly for those to come together in the like minds of being obedient to the laws of Yah. Majority of these congregations are already receiving consistent alms and tithes and offerings. And when these type of feasts come, they're supposed to already have the funds, because remember, if you're receiving, if you're being a minister or a teacher or whatever, and you're receiving something, you're supposed to tithe of that as well. You're not supposed to just receive and then you don't give over to the Most High. And I'm not saying that they don't. However, let's get Malachi chapter 3, verse 10. Okay. Let's actually start at verse 8. All right. Put my notes here. And again, this video is titled "What's Really Going On?" because we're going to try to figure out what the heck is going on with these congregations charging people for Passovers. Okay, when they're receiving consistent alms, tithes, and offerings, and they're not putting anything in the storehouses. Something in the milk ain't clean, family. All right. Verse 8 of Malachi chapter 3. Will a man rob Yah? Yet he had robbed me. But ye say, wherein have he robbed me? In tithes and offerings. Ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. I'm going to put this on silent. Bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse, that there may be meat in my house, and prove me now herewith, saith the Most High of hosts. For if I will not open your windows of heaven and pour you out a blessing, that there shall not be room enough to receive it. Key to this is bring ye all the tithes into the storehouse. Okay, the storehouse. Well, what is the storehouse? Is every assembly and congregation automatically a storehouse? Well, they could be. If they're providing the spiritual bread for people, then they could qualify as a storehouse. But the scripture asks the question, will a man rob Yah? And you ask, well, how did we rob you? He said in tithes and offering. How did we rob you, Father Yah, in tithes and offering? Could it be there are some people that are not doing the proper protocol with the tithe and offering? Or could it simply be they're not giving it back to the people? Because for us, I remember according to the law, the tithe was supposed to be for the Levitical priesthood who had no inheritance, the widow, the fatherless, the stranger, those that were without amongst the nation of Israel. Now, let's get the scripture on that. Let's begin in Deuteronomy chapter 14. Bookmark that. Deuteronomy chapter 14, verses 22 through 27. Laws about tithes. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. So we understand when the tithe initially was brought to the people of Israel, it was because remember, we didn't have no job. We didn't have no powers that be. So if you didn't give Abba the first of your field wasn't going to yield its fruit. If you didn't give Abba the first of your cattle could become sick. If you didn't give him the first of your wine, your grain, so forth and so on, he wasn't obligated to bless it. The same example goes down there into the times of Cain and Abel family. There's a reason why Cain's gift and offering was not honored. Oh, it may not say it, but Abba said to Cain, hey, what are your countenance down for? If you do good, will I not tell you? He didn't receive Cain's offering because it probably wasn't the best of what he had. And not only that, he delayed in being obedient. So even delayed obedience is a form of rebellion. So even if people say, oh, I'm going to just get all this money up and give all this money up, and then I'm going to just put this aside when I feel like it, that's not righteous. Let's continue reading in Deuteronomy chapter 14, verse 22. Thou shalt truly tithe all the increase of thy seed, that the field bringeth forth year by year. And thou shalt eat before the Most High thy Elohim in the place which he hath chose to place his name. So that gives us a clue that the storehouse must be where he chooses to place his name in. Not just every little congregation that wants to minister to the people or call themselves ministers to the people. Okay, but he placed his name there. The tithe of thy corn, of thy wine, of thine oil, and of thy firstlings, of thy herbs, herds, and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn to fear the Most High thy Elohim. Fear him in, I know if I don't give Abba first of what he gives me, I will not be able to receive for my following year. I might as well expect a curse. That's why it said over here in Malachi chapter 3:10, okay, bring ye all the tithes into the store, that there may be meat in my house. But before that verse 10, it says, ye are cursed with a curse, for ye have robbed me, even this whole nation. How did the whole nation rob Yah? Oh, because I think when we went into captivity, our servitude was automatically obligated to be taxed because what is it? Uncle Sam, they call it taxes. So when you're in captivity, you're subjected to taxes. And if you're subjected to taxes, then what you really make is not able to be given unto the Father. But we were already cursed. Cursed shall you be in your basket. Cursed shall you be in your food in the field. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy loins. So if we're already cursed from Abba not receiving the first of our true of what he provided, because Abba's not our source, he was not our source. He was sustaining us through his grace in our captivity. But the initial idea of the tithe was, he said, pray that I will not pour you out a blessing from the Shamayim, which is the latter rain. That was important for people who were farmers and shepherds and those who, simply just relied on Yah. And so I'm sitting here looking at these congregations that are receiving, weekly alms and offerings or tithes, via every Shabbat or whenever someone wants to bless them. And I'm wondering why it comes Passover that you are asking for money to be able for families or people to partake in your Passover. That just doesn't make sense to me. And before that even came about, there's weeks that they're planning this Passover. And I'm not trying to be funny or anything, but look around. Does it look like tomorrow's even promised or the next hour's even promised? I'm not trying to say that it is to be a need of fear or doubt, but honestly, let's just keep it real. Like, the initial Passover, it says that you would buy a lamb for your household. So if the number of your household is 3, then you would buy a lamb for your household. And you would take the lamb into your home and eat the Passover. Now, for the memorials of the Passovers, our people congregated and came together. And I ain't against that. That's beautiful. I would love for us to be able to come together in more things than just Passover. But we have to be considerate of the times we're in. For one, we're in captivity. And that's not an excuse to say we can't keep the feast of God. That's just simply saying that now in this captivity, in this time and season, things are looking a little bit more shaky. When we're seeing elders within the body or so-called of Israelite congregations getting the coronavirus, I think it's a quite clear sign for us to be a little more cautious of who we're being fed by spiritually and who we eat amongst, because the scripture forbids us to even eat amongst the table with fornicators. And if a person is a spiritual fornicator, I think that law still applies. I think that commandment still applies. Yet we have other people who lack discernment because they're praying for these people who are afflicted with the virus, which they have no fear of the possibility that they could very well be praying against the hand of Yah. Because if the Most High is not keeping them, he's not their shepherd. I'm going to continue reading in Deuteronomy chapter 14, 22 through 27. All right. Instructions of the tithe. Okay, let's get back up here to verse 23 because I didn't finish that. And the firstlings of thy herds and of thy flocks, that thou mayest learn the fear of the Most High, thy Elohim, always. And if the way be too long for thee, which means going to where he said his name at, which was Jerusalem, so that thou art not able to carry it, which means the first of your herbs, the first of your oil, the first of your wine, the first of your grain, okay? Or if the place be too far from thee, which the Most High thy Elohim shall choose to set his name there. This is the second time I tell you where you're trying to get to give the tithe is where he said his name in, okay? When the Most High thy Elohim hath blessed thee, then shalt thou turn it into money. This is how the tithe became possible for people to use tithe as money. Notice people don't ever ask and say, hey, if you want to send us a package of food or something like that. So when we have these feast days, we'll have food for this feast day. People only want to automatically assume that they need to receive money in order to keep the feast and have an alm or a tithe. What's wrong with somebody sending you some paper plates and some paper forks and some water or some bread? Or go half on, or help with the lamb, or I don't know, but it shouldn't automatically it be like this. Like, with certain camps, they're talking about people that they have to even have outfits to go to Passovers, or they have to pay a certain amount, and if they can't make a certain amount, which is like months before Passover, they won't even be able to go to the Passover. So they're feeling condemned that they're not able to serve Yah because according to man, they weren't able to go to the Passover. Like, what is this nonsense? What is really going on, Israel? Really, what's going on? Like, where can you find me the law that says you must charge everybody to come apart and be a part of your congregation? Because with that kind of idea, I'm starting to think this is why people are charging everybody each Shabbat for Passover, when not for charging everybody tithe and offering every Shabbat, when it was a yearly and a every third year type requirement. Tithing was yearly. You gotta have 4 seasons for your stuff to grow, for your herbs to, for your herds to give birth, and for your wine to come producing, and for your daggone grain to come forth. It was 4 seasons. This is why it was yearly and every 3 years. Verse 25. Then shalt thou turn it into money and bind up the money in thy hand, and shalt go into the place which the Most High thy Elohim shall choose. And thou shalt bestow that money for whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, for sheep. So after you allow Yah to bless and see your act of obedience, doing what he told you to do, then you can proceed to take that increase and do what you got with it. But, okay, whatsoever thy soul lusteth after, for oxen, for sheep, or for wine, or for strong drink, or for whatsoever thy soul desire, and thou shalt eat thereof before the Most High thy Elohim, and thou shalt rejoice, you and thy household. So at the end of the day, it still came back unto you. What's really going on, Israel? Why are you guys condemning people because they cannot afford to make it to your Passover according to your made-up price per heads and your luxury outfit requirements, and you'll want to have it in this year in this state, this year over here, and that year? The one congregation had it out there. What was that? Rebirth of Hebrew Nation had it out there in New Orleans last year. New Orleans. You know darn well Yah Abba is not setting his name on nobody in nobody's New Orleans. Not to mention prior, before they even had Passover last year, that beloved sister Malcolm Norwood had came out with a cry amongst the people in the body because of the ark, which was a woman named Huda was doing some wicked things, and she was crying out and making herself right before the Most High, and yet nobody within the body held that ark people to standard. I think the only family that really rebuked them was Jedi Malek. But you know what's strange to me, family, is that there's some other things that came out about that ark ministry. And I'm hearing that the ark ministry is actually telling Rebirth that they're not charging people enough for the Passover. Now, I'm not going to say what I hear because that's not facts, which is not wise to do. But if a person's saying this, chances are I trust my source, and I know they wouldn't bear false witness, and that's just really pathetic. Not to mention that meant that they were taking Passover unclean. So if you're amongst a congregation that the overseers and the head is not handling situations within the body right like that, and they're unclean, and you being fed upon them, when Abba judges them, you're going to be judged with them. Folk don't really fear Yah the way they say they do. Because if they did, and that beloved sister Malcolm Norwood came out the way she did, there should have been a lot different things going on the way that whole thing crumbled down. Let's read on down with Deuteronomy 14, verse 27. And the Levite that is within thy gates, thou shalt not forsake him, for he hath no part nor inheritance with thee. So this is why not only did they bless themselves with it and get what they desire, but make sure you look out for the Levite. Brother or sister, look, make sure you bless their family too. Matter of fact, invite them over to your home and say, hey, would you like to feast with us and give thanks unto the Most High Yah for what he's done for us within a year? You know? All right, let's go over here to Deuteronomy 26. Deuteronomy 26, verse 12. And let me explain something to y'all. If you know that Yah has feasts within their seasons. There's a feast almost for like almost every season. Some 2 feasts within a season, you know. And you're receiving alms, tithes, and offering, and you have not set anything aside for that, for like per se the widowed and the fatherless, and you know those who are in need. Do you think that means would you say that's robbing Yah? Because these things can be coming from those people who are in need. It's kind of no different than Creflo Dollar and TD Jakes and Joel Osteen, because remember, these pastors, do you see them on the news doing anything for people right now? Do you know the network of these people, these pastors? You know, we don't have ways to find out the network of each congregations and these Israelite teachers and stuff. But one must wonder. Because when Mashiach was here, he rode in on a donkey. He was meek and lowly. And this was the Mashiach. And I ain't saying people can't desire to have nice things, but there's a level of discernment that people that some have, and they don't miss certain things. Nope. Let's read Deuteronomy 26, verses 12. The 3rd year tithe. When thou hast made an end of tithing all the tithes of thine increase, the 3rd year, which is a year of tithing, and hast given it unto the Levite, the stranger, the fatherless, and the widow, that they may eat within thy gates and be filled. Then thou shalt say before the Most High thy Elohim, I have brought away the hollow things out of my house, and also have given them unto the Levite. So honestly, for these congregations who are receiving alms and whatnot, they should say, you know what, family, a total of all the alms and receives and gifts that we got over this year, y'all ain't even got to worry about your hotel fees, your traveling, or your food. We're going to actually provide that for y'all. Thanks to y'all who gave gifts. And, you know, you ain't got to read the names, but just say thanks to a couple of blessed families. You know who you are. Now, other than when you receive the gift, thank you for so-and-so for your gift. Other than that, put some works to that thanks. It just simply say here in verse 12, I'm going to read it again for you. When thou hast made an end of tithing, all the tithes of thine increase, the 3rd year. So there's okay, you tithe every year, but the 3rd year, there's a requirement with tithing that he probably says, just give it to these people. I'll probably saying, just give it to the people, like the fatherless, the stranger, the widow, okay, and things of that nature. How many offerings have you probably, congregations, how many offerings and tithes do you think within your total of sum that you might have received from a single woman who has children struggling? Or how many alms do you think you might have received from someone who is a grandmother raising some kids who don't have a mother or a father? Or from a Gentile, a stranger, who's just humble to be amongst the Israel, genuinely humble, and was willing to bless you all? And because you have to tithe, you have to give a percentage of that, which is 10%, and over to the Most High Yah, which is for his ministry. You can say, oh, I use this for this ministry, or I used it for what do you say, books, or I used it for our brand, our name, for producing movies. No, and a no. Okay, I'm sorry. That's nice to put that into things for the ministry. Yeah, that's cool. Buying yourself some nice cameras or new computers or whatever you may say. And I assure you, I'm not jealous. I'm so well taken care of. I tell you, I'm so well taken care of by my Father. But I'm just wondering, like, honestly, have you took out and say, okay, there's some mothers that may need help with homeschooling their children. Hey, what is there something you need? Can I help you? Somebody done left the chat. I don't really care. Don't make me none. I'm gonna tell you what's going on, family. This is a lot of the minor reasons why we're not on one accord. There's no genuine, sincere love out here. There is none. I'm not seeing it. Like I stated earlier, do we really have to agree for us to love each other? I don't think the law said, love thy brother if you agree, or love thy brother if they're the same color as you, or love your brother if they come from the state. And then you go on certain videos and congregations and you'll say shalom, and then folk won't reach you. It's these little cliques and these little packs and stuff. Then when you expose and say something about it, then folk want to have something to say. They're not genuine. They're not real. They're not sincere. They don't love the Father. They don't fear Abba. But this is exactly why a lot more people within the body is going to catch a virus, and something far worse than that. Trust and believe me, you. Because Abba's not overlooking this kind of stuff. Unless they repent and take heed and do some things that they need to do to get themselves right. Who are we that we can hide ourselves? Who do we think we are? Who do y'all think y'all are? It's disgusting and deplorable that you take no thought for those that you take from. And have a fancy Passover. People got to pay you for the dinner and pay you for and pay for their gas to get there and pay for their hotel. When all Abba said was buy yourself a lamb. And matter of fact, within the law of Passover, he said, matter of fact, if you could see how gracious Abba was, if you couldn't afford a Passover lamb, get yourself a goat. So where's your stimulation? You know what? If you can't afford to make it here, just go ahead and we'll get. Now, I'm not saying that some of these congregations have not made it where some people can come to their Passover for free. I ain't saying it. Even if you gave some people 3, 4, 5, 10 people free meal, bottom line, I think your alms throughout the year, your tithe and offering should have covered a lot more than that. Because you took all that money and gave it to who? To the oppressor who owned the hotel. So the oppressor's like, yes, please go ahead and have your silly feast. I don't really care what you do. I'm going to get fat off of it. But Jeremiah 30 said that we shall no longer serve these strangers. Hence, the Passover meat was not supposed to leave your doors. And these hotels are unclean. This is where fornicators and adulterers go, and all kinds of unclean people go. How are you having your Passovers in hotels? It'd be better off to have it in the daggone park. Family. To see the foolishness within our nation, it becomes very discouraging. And it explains why a lot of our people are going to have to perish. Folk ain't as genuine as they portray themselves to be. It is what it is. I'm grateful that my phone is off today because I've already showed me some unnecessary calls to try to come and clear this up. If you're thinking to do that, please don't call me. Please spare it. Or if you try, I'm going to put you to the voicemail. You don't need to call me. You need to go to the Father. There's no explanation. And I'm already prepared for some clapback videos. So I'm good. I'm all the way good. I dealt with this nonsense last year with Ayel Ban Yahweh died. And now look at his fruit from this year. A year later, look at his harvest. He's got other quarrels with other people as well. He's also threatened another sister in Jersey, which was told to me. I asked the sister who told me about this sister. I said, what's the sister's name? So I can go out there and reach out to the sister and encourage her. Oh, I can't tell you that. That's okay. That's okay. You try to stop, block, and hinder anything Allah has for me to do, you're going to get dealt with too. You disguise witches of Israel. You disguise Jezebels in Israel. You warlocks. You greedy dogs. Let's get 2 Peter 2:3. I get heated with this nonsense, boy. I tell you. I get real heated with this nonsense. 2 Peter 2:3. And through covetousness shall they with finged words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time and lingereth not, and their damnation slumbereth not. Making merchandise of the children of Yah. Then at these Passovers, they want to be selling beads, selling t-shirts, selling mugs, selling dresses, all kinds of folly. Kind of the same thing that they did in the temples beforehand when the Mashiach came and flipped the tables and said, my Father's house should be a house of prayer. So if you're having a Passover where Abba supposed to be had paste his name there, why are you selling merchandise? The Passover is supposed to be a high holy feast, Shabbat. It's supposed to be a high Sabbath. Why are you selling and buying other than that which he had required you to eat? What is going on, Israel? It's like a lot of people got the heart of Saul. They don't want to completely do what the Most High tell them to do. And when they do, they want to lean to their own understandings. And when they do, they want to be seeking their own will. It's not a concert. It's not a parade. It's not a circus. It's a memorial dinner of our Mashiach, which was the last Passover lamb who was slaughtered brutally. How dare you all make merchandise of his people who he has redeemed? How dare you take advantage? You hireling, wicked shepherds, you dumb dogs, you greedy dogs. I may not have all the details perfectly on when the Passover is, but I know one thing he's going to do. He's going to judge our hearts on what we did do and with the best of our ability. He's going to judge your heart. Okay, daughter. So according to what you thought my law was, let's see how you did that. All praises. You had your heart in the right place. You welcomed your home to a stranger, but this stranger despitefully used you and you still blessed them. All praises, daughter. Well done. I'm well pleased. Or my son. He says already in his word, he hates your feast days. He hates your songs. He hates all that nonsense. Why? Because he's done found some leavening within. People saying, I get the leaven. You're supposed to be getting the leaven out your temple first. You're supposed to be getting that slickly, that greedy, that nature that you're trying to hide. That's what you're supposed to be dealing with. Folk don't fear y'all, man. Folk do not fear y'all. I provided a few scriptures for the rebuke and for the righteous indignation I had for what's going on in the body of Israel. And I truly pray that this approaching Passover, that people make announcements of repentance and they really seek to do things according to his word and stop trying to have these little silly family reunions / cookouts and what would you say, flea markets, because folk might drop dead within them Passovers. If you are someone who wanted to take a part of a Passover and you could not make a certain payments or you couldn't get an outfit or you just don't even know if you're going to have a meal for tomorrow, whatever the case may be, rest assured. Focus on getting the sin and leavening out your life. Remember the Mashiach as your Passover lamb and just dwell within his ruach. Remember, like we said it in the video early, it was counted righteousness unto Abraham when he obeyed Yah and did what he said. He was uncircumcised then. What that tell you? He wasn't even required clean yet. Not to say you could be unclean taking the Passover. In other words, Yah called you to this truth. Don't let this nonsense going on around you, all this racket, put you in a frenzy, in a fearful place because you cannot make it to somebody's extravaganza party. Because I refuse to be amongst those who want to call it celebrating what he did. No. Have a moment of silence like they do for the dead. Shut your mouth for a while and understand how severe this is. How many times do you see these people keeping what they say? When you in remembrance of me, eat of my bread and drink of this wine. It ain't just a Passover. The Mashiach came and changed the game, family. Folk ain't paying attention. They missed it. He said, "This is my blood for you. This is which is a new covenant." What is that? Luke 21? No, not Luke 21. What was it? Luke 20? Let's see. Oh, I'm high. Oh my goodness, I'm dying. I think it probably could be 17 or something. Beloved. Whew. Pardon me, family. I want to find what they call so-called the Last Supper, which was not the Last Supper, because he said he will eat this. What else again? He will not drink of the vine until he goes until he be with us in the kingdom. Let me just where my phone at? Let me see something. Get it on my drum. Yep, I got that one. Yep, I got that one too. All praises. All right. Ooh, child. All right, let's go to Matthew 26. My goodness, I'm gonna crack this window. Now I'm gonna put the fan on. No, I don't feel like standing on that chair. I'm gonna just crack the window. Oh yeah. All right, Matthew 26. I'm just like, what is going on, family? Like last year we had some folly going on in the body. Folk out here being a pastor on Sunday and then a moray on the Shabbat, talking about the ark. What is that? The ark of folly? I don't want nothing to do with that ark. I unsubscribe and stop watching it. They better not still be doing nothing on the YouTube. They better not be. Because I don't remember seeing no rebukes. I mean no repents. Mm-mm. 26. Ooh, that air feels so good. Okay, 26. Starting at 24. Okay, that's not it. 14. Okay, Luke 22. I was close. I knew that was not it. Luke 22. Luke 22, pardon me, family. All right. It's in Matthew too, but I prefer the Luke version for some reason. We're gonna start at verse 7. They call it the Last Supper, but it's not the Last Supper. It is the Passover meal. They saying it's the Last Supper of the Mashiach, like as if he ain't gonna eat again. Well, yeah, his fleshly man didn't eat again, but remember he said in John 4 that his meat is to do the will of his Father. So that's what he was doing. He was eating while he was being obedient, if you know what I mean, storing up treasures in the Shamayim according to his obedience. Verse 7. Then came the day of unleavened bread, when the Passover must be killed. And he sent Peter and John, saying, Go and prepare us the Passover, that we may eat. And they said unto him, Where wilt thou we prepare? And he said unto them, Behold, when ye are entered into the city, there shall a man meet you, bearing a pitcher of water. Follow him into the house where he entereth in. And ye shall say unto the good man of the house, the good man of the house. Now listen, I'm sorry. The good man say, let me get a couple of stuff, let me get about 15 shekels of silver real quick. Then I'm gonna let you in here. No. You mean to tell me this good man in the house? Who made him a good man in the house? Because it was our culture that our people would have a guest chamber. Which means you open your home to those within the city and the gates that could be visiting. Just like Lot did. Just that's righteous. Thank you, Abba, for the wind, for the clean air, Abba. All right. Okay. And he shall say when you shall say unto the good man of the house, the master saith unto thee, Where is the guest chamber where I shall eat the Passover with my disciples? And he shall show you a large upper room, furnished, there make ready. Upper room for the Passover, upper room for the day of Pentecost. And they went and found as he had said unto them, and they made ready the Passover. And when the hour was come, he sat down, and the 12 apostles with him. And he said unto them, with desire I have desired to eat this Passover with you before I suffer. For I say unto you, I will not any more eat thereof until it be fulfilled in the kingdom. So there's some people that say he ate the Passover lamb. Well, his own mouth, he just said, with desire, I have desired to eat this with you. Which means that he go into atoning and a fasting. I had to argue with somebody last year on this. I ain't going to mention it because he's not with us, bless his soul, but And he took the cup and gave thanks and said, take this and divide it among yourselves. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine. Boom. He ain't even drinking of the vine. Now, mind you, the Mashiach had his wine, but he said, divide this among yourselves. Okay. Until the kingdom of Yah shall come. So he's not going to eat the Passover till the kingdom of the Most High shall come. He's not going to drink of the vine until the kingdom of the Most High shall come. He's fasting. And the affliction and suffering, like we read earlier, Isaiah 53 shall be upon him. He's entering into his suffering. His mind is getting ready for what he's about to endure. Flesh had to die. This is the very thing he's showing us right now. People having Passovers and your flesh is still thriving. And he took bread and gave thanks and brake it and gave unto them, saying, this is my body, which is given for you. This do in remembrance of me. This do in remembrance of me. Didn't the Father say, this is my son in whom I'm well pleased? Hear ye him? Folks so wrapped up in the traditions of the of Passover, they're disobeying the head. They're dishonoring our head. There's some anti-Mashiachs and they don't even know it because they're simply disobedient. I'm sick and tired of these disobedient people, man. What is really good out here? I'm going to highlight that. What you think his words was highlighted for in the Bibles? It's just some rebellious, stiff-necked folk. This don't get it. Verse 20. Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this is the cup of the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. So boom, here go my body. Here go the New Testament. Here goes the new covenant. Here goes the new stimulations for the kingdom. Ooh, right over some people's head. You see, there's some parts of this Gospels that the Christian church got, and there's some things that the body of the Israelites got. If they could put it together, we'd be, we received the mysteries of the kingdom. But people are divided in their foolishness. They're not getting it. I'm going to read this verse again. I hope y'all can understand this. Verse 20. Likewise, also the cup after supper, saying, this cup is the New Testament in my blood, which is shed for you. He ain't shed no blood yet. He talking representation to these people, similar to, let's see if they get it. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. Hold up. Here I'm about to give you my blood. I'm about to give you the New Testament. Hold, but take heed, family. There's a shalom. Thank you, beloved sister. Thank you, beloved. But there's a betrayer amongst us. So even at this Passover, there was a dirty, slithering, filthy snake. Even within these congregation Passovers, there's some dirty, filthy, slithering snakes. Got the same. And what was the reason why Judas was dirty? Because he wanted to sell the Mashiach out for money. Folk are willing to only deal with you if you got money. Folk are only want to deal with you and call you righteous amongst them if you gonna get them some money. Verse 21. But behold, the hand of him that betrayeth me is with me on the table. And truly the Son of Man goeth as it was determined. But woe unto that man whom the Most High, whom he is betrayed. And they began to inquire among themselves, which of them it was that should do this. Mind you, if they're inquiring amongst themselves, that means they all could have had a slight conscience of guilt. Because if they was clean, they would have been like, oh my goodness, like, oh yeah. Don't tell me right now you don't never examine yourself and say, Father, search my heart. If there's anything unclean on me, Father, if you are doing that, all praises. If you're not, you thinking that you righteously clean, oh my goodness, you filthy. Every day there's something that we have fall short on. We got to continue to complete on his mercy for. That's a broken and a contrite heart. Verse 24, and there was also strife among them. Where strife and envy is, there's every evil work. The enemy done crept in now. He was already there. Like he just simply said, behold, the enemy, the one that betrayed me, he's sitting at the table with me. So because the enemy and the adversary was there, then, the unclean was allowed to be a part of this Passover. There's even people having strife and quarrels about the planning of their Passover. Where should we have it this year? I don't know. You see how so-and-so showed up with the Passover last year? She was a sight. Strife and quarrels amongst each other. Stupid, silly, unnecessary debates. Gossip. Backbiting. Verse 25. And he said unto them, the kings of the Gentiles exercise lordship over them, and they that exercise authority over them are called benefactors. But ye shall not be so. But he that is greatest among you, let him be as the younger, and he that is chief as that doeth serve. Ooh. If y'all sitting around here arguing about which one's going to be the debater, he probably was like, I was the one that was serving him like this. And this is the reason why he brought this out. Wait a minute. Neither of you showed me a lowly state. Neither of you said, you know what, Mashiach? If there's someone here to betray you, you had a long day. Let me wash your feet. Or what do you need? They're sitting here arguing amongst themselves on why they're not the one that's a betrayer. This is why he said this. For whether is greater he that sitteth at meat or he that serveth? Which one you think is greater? The one to serve you the food or the one that is the meat? Or he that's serving you the meat, or he that's going to become the lamb? It's going to become the Passover lamb, the actual slaughtering one. Ain't none of y'all great up in here. Stop. For whether is greater, he that sitteth at meat, he that sits at the table to be served, or he that's doing the serving? Is it not he that sitteth at meat? He was testing them. Isn't it the one that's sitting at the meat at the table? Yup. He the one, because yup. Surely ain't service. A servant ain't nothing. Folk, they got that kind of mindset. They ain't even gonna be qualified for no servants in the kingdom. Because there's laws on how you treat the servants too. Is it not he that sitteth at meat? But I am among you as he that serveth. Ooh, rebuke. I bet you there was a pause in between there. He always was rebuking them slowly and surely. Unexpectedly. They ain't never see it coming. I think it would have been wise amongst those days to just shut up and listen unto the Mashiach. Even if you had a question, which he could see your heart, pray on it. Oh, Father, please check my spirit. Check my heart. Oh, Father. I don't want to ask him the wrong thing. I don't want to just, you can't hide nothing from me. Says, what you saying? You was wrong, beloved. What's the matter, sis? You talking about Matthew 26, beloved? I went there first, actually. It's all love. I baruch you for being willing to share. It's all love. Verse 28. Ye are they which have continued with me in my temptations. And I appoint unto you a kingdom, as my Father hath appointed unto me. Now he appointed to you a kingdom, which means it's going to be some suffering and some servitude with this kingdom. You ain't going to just be walking around here lavishly thinking you got it like that, riding high on horses. Okay, but look, yeah, like I said, you all right, Lord. That ye may eat and drink at my table in my kingdom, and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. This is why the apostles They had a higher standard. You're very welcome, beloved. That's right, beloved. Okay, I ain't gonna go too much more into like the Peter's denier and all that kind of stuff. But the meaning for this video was, I need to know. I don't really need to know. I just want to expose what is going on in the body of our people and how we can sit back and laugh and pray the downfall of these other nations when yet we got people in our body that's filthy, that's acting a fool, about to plan another Passover, like a family reunion, aka circus, aka concert, aka cookout. We're not ready for the mission. We're not ready for the kingdom. We can't even iron out the minor dumb stuff amongst us. How much work are we trying to put on the mission? How much work do we really expect him to come back and deal with? Like, he done came and died for us. Like, what more do you want him to do? Like, I know why he coming with the sword. Because folk don't get it. They don't want to get it. They choose to. This is why the poor are really going to be in the kingdom. It's why it's going to be a lot of people that you wouldn't expect in the kingdom. So I'm about to get on off of here and get me a cup of ice cold water so I can cool off and go into prayer, because it's so heartbreaking. It's really heartbreaking, family. How many people within the years beforehand been denied access to Passovers and feast days because they couldn't make it to that city, or they were having it, or they didn't have enough money to pay for their meal and their children. And it's a single woman barely able to keep the food on the table and pay her bills. Don't forget, we're in captivity. We are people that's trodden over and neglected and going through. He said, the greatest among you shall be a servant. Or how many of these congregations are serving our communities? How many of y'all sitting around here and name brands and whatnot? You shouldn't be rocking no other name but the Most High Yah. If you're going to wear a name brand, don't be wearing it on the Sabbath in front of people's face. Have some couth about yourself. Like I said, folk don't fear Yah. And so because of that, they're going to be made believers. They're going to be made believers. And don't be out here praying to get somebody and you ain't right. I don't know what's going on with that beloved sister Malcolm Norwood. I had to pull away from all that nonsense. Not saying she was nonsense, but it was the disgust of what happened within our body was a lot of the reasons why I walked away from YouTube, and I was so disturbed and disgusted, and it became a snare unto me. However, for the grace and the mercy of Yah, I have returned, and I'm grateful that He allowed me to return. And I feel like some people say, "Oh, I've been in the truth all the time." I feel like I could never give a date and time or lifespan of how long I've been aware of who I was, because that's just minor to comparing to how long I'm able to fulfill the law, which is according to being born again, a new creation. And every day it's a learning experience. Every day it's a new process of dying to self. Every day you learn how to suffer. You learn how to endure and try to become the word like the Mashiach was. And if we've seen a lot more of this within our nation, there's no saying what kind of things Abba would have done for us as a people, as a nation. It's just no telling. But I'm going to go ahead and get on off of here. I appreciate you all for tuning in. I pray that this message falls upon the ears that it needs to, because You know, we're still a nation, and the nonsense of what they're doing could very well affect us all. But you know what? He said he's gonna plead with us face to face when we get to that wilderness. So if you think that nonsense gonna fly when you be like, yeah, why did you keep my Passover? Excuse me, I kept off about 5 pounds. Was it you right? You didn't keep not one Passover. He gonna tell you. Why? How come I didn't keep a Passover? Yes, Zion. Okay, go ahead, son. Why didn't you keep the Passover? Oh, because of this, that, and the third, and third, bow. Our feast days are supposed to be centered around deliverance. So that needs to be the foundation of your concentration when you're coming together with your brothers and sisters. Thanking the Most High that He's provided us a sacrifice, a pure, perfect sacrifice, that we're even able to still be called His people and be redeemed unto Him. I'm just going to stop on that. I love you all very much, family. I pray you all have a wonderful night. And let us please examine ourselves with sincerity and genuineness. Please. Just imagine what 5 broken hearts and contriteness can do within each state. Just imagine. Let us see how y'all can move in an abundant way. I promise you, it says, a broken and contrite heart he will not resist. But the pride and the haughty, he will. So just keep that in mind, family. Shalom.